Hi everyone, it's Daisy, and our project today is a drawing of a dog. The perspective is interesting, and the technique in this is with pencil colors. It's a process of layering, but moreover, I think the difficulty in this one is the perspective angle at which the dog is sitting. So let's do this project together. Here we go. So this is a picture of our dog. His name is Bug, and he always looks that way when he wants a treat. And so that's the basic pose there. Can't do much about that. And we're well trained. We understand what he wants. So we are going to start with the top of the nose. Make a line for the top of the nose and curve downward on either side. Divide the nose down the center and then create the nostrils. It's as simple as making the number 6 on either side. Bring the sides of the nostrils down towards the bottom of the center line to complete the nose. We create a small line at the bottom of the nose and use that to create the mouth. But before we do, we want to study our picture to understand as to how far out do we take it from the nose itself. And so once I've got that, I'm going to take the line at a diagonal, curve, and create it. Now I'm going to mark off the pink area that is very prominent on his face and bring it down towards the nose to complete the nose area. So it's not as simple as just drawing the nose itself. Complete the bottom with the curved line for the bottom lip. And now let's go and work on our eyes. He has a prominent dimple up the center of his face, and I'll draw that first and use that to help me understand where to place the eyes. Now the eyes are outside of the nose area about a finger's width away, and that's what I'm doing. I use that as a measurement guide for myself to place where I want the inside corner of the eye to be, checking to see that the balance is correct. From here, I'm going to start drawing the eye. I break it into multiple lines. First line, the very inside is a steep slope, followed by a flat line, which drops down into a curve. I'll leave this alone, come back to the center dot, and then create the curve at the bottom of the eye. I will do this for both the left and the right eye, but there will be a difference between my left and right eye, basically because of the angle at which his picture has been taken. And that's just something that you have to trust your eyes will guide you right. You always draw what you see. A lot of times we end up drawing a line that we believe should be there, but that doesn't really help our drawing to capture the perspective. Create curved lines on the inside of the eye to make the iris. I do this prominently by studying the white spaces that have been left after the iris, not the other way around. So I'm literally drawing the white iris of the eye versus anything else. Above his eye, there's a dark patch. It's like a darker fur that's just above his eye. And I want to create that because I'll need to know those things as I apply colors. And so I would like to have them there. And it's also a good thing because it also tells me a bit about the contour and the bone structure under the fur. I also look at the bright areas on top of his nose. They're in a very clean, like a V formation, which again kind of creates like a coat around the nose. Once this is done, now comes the head, the top of the head. The very topmost area of the eye, right above it, is where his bone structure tends to sit. So I'm going to mark that off for myself as to where that would be, and then take a direct line from the center vein to those dots to create the top of his head and what it looks like. Chisel out the sides of his face from the corners of the eye. The next chisel would be from the eye down to the top of the nose. And I'm always checking for alignments to see how to angle it. So much done. You'll notice that his face gets sunk in a little bit once it's past the eye area. So I want to study that and want to mark off for it and to know where I want to take this. That helps me define the upper part of his face. Moving on to his ears. Create the top curve, and you're again studying the negative space between the face to the tip of the ear and where it's supposed to be coming from. Studying the negative space is a very good way to draw something you've never drawn before. And again, drawing in all the details, as in the flaps of the ears and all that, is done based off of knowing the balance from the eye and how far out to go, and from where the inside fold of his ear starts. He's got really floppy ears. I mean, I've never seen ears like that till we didn't get him. But it's really cute, the way that his ears flop when he walks. I'm very close to getting done, but now I'm going to use the measure of my head to understand the measure of the rest of his body. So the entire size of the face is actually the size of the rest of his body based on the perspective that we're drawing it at. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that off for myself. As to where do I put the end of his chest area, and from where does the outside of his arms frame the lower part of his body. Now from here, I'm looking at the angle at which the legs are going downward, and it's sort of creating a triangular effect. So again, measure up using the head as a count 1, and then bullet down to see where would the bottom of his feet be. Once you've kind of placed the destination for yourself, you won't really go wrong. The thing to study now is the way to draw in his legs, because it's very muscular. There's a lot of muscles that kind of rippled from the upper part of his leg all the way down to the bottom, and I want to address all of them. So I'm here at the feet, building my way up, and I'm going to use section by section kind of a procession going upward. And I'll use alignment, as in the case of the outside muscle ribs that I see. I'm going to use alignments to draw them in. So I've drawn the lowest most muscle that I see. Now I'll connect that from his upper body down. Creating in his paws. There's a shadow, and as just like I did on his face, I want to know what I see and how I want to work on them when I get into coloring. I've drawn this line, but I know that I need to make it look like it matches. So look at the inside curves now. Make sure that that alignment is accurate. Given that he's a very big dog, feels like he's being dwarfed, but you have to draw the perspective that you see things at. The toes, rather the paws. Checking to see that it's a feeling of a triangular kind of a pose, and I want to check to see, am I getting that same feel in my overall look of the dog before I start any detailing work on him. Now I want to kind of address the muscles and understand if I captured everything correctly or not. So going back to look at them, to work on them one more time. Balancing out. And that ought to get me my basic drawing of my dog, Bug. Now, we're almost at the point of addressing the color ranges and all the rest of it. And this will be a technique of layering, starting with the lightest tones, covering the entire face with them, and then working on the darker tones. So I'll pick out individual colors, and this is in colored pencils, but color pencils can do a lot of technique, provided you push them. So that means to say most people like to use a pencil and very lightly shade in things, but I like to go in more aggressively, push out the pigment as much as I can and really get the tones. And that is my process of coloring. So from here on in, enjoy the coloring portion of this video. Hope you enjoy, and look forward to seeing our next video. Thank you for joining us.